Hi, everybody. It's Dave with a belated video for 26B and 26C, which were last week's exercises. If you want to push it a little bit with regards to the final exam and the work that is due starting now, I'm happy to let you submit 26B and 26C or to resubmit them if you had a lot of trouble with them by Friday of this week. But you must keep in mind that the final exam is coming soon and that there is new work due that is fairly challenging in chapter 27 too. But 26B and 26C, I want to just go over a few of them to give you, a firmer grounding with these things. Looking at the first one in 26B, this sentence always gives people trouble. And that's because this verb here is shared by both of these little clauses, you could say. So if you think about it, hic, I mean, I've got the pronouns listed here. This side of the chart here, hic, hike, and hawk, are forms of what we would translate as this in English, as in this book, this boy, this girl, this class. So hic, hike, hawk is this, and ille, illa, illud are that. This and that. So these are called demonstrative pronouns. And why? Because when you demonstrate to someone what you are basically pointing at, you say this book right here. This is the one I want, not that book over there, but this one. Um, so um, this these are pronouns, but they also act like basically like adjectives. So let's say hic puer, as we see in this first sentence here. I mean, hic is, kind of really an adjective if you think about it. This is a noun, and this, while not being very descriptive, it does tell you something more about the boy, this boy, as opposed to that boy here. And so there's a word that's understood here in this second part of the sentence. And if you I'm not being very clear, but bear with me a second here. uh, this boy lives in this street, and that boy is understood here, lives in that street. So there's some missing words here, you could say, that are kind of understood or maybe not so well understood, because this sentence does usually throw students off in my experience. But that's, I think, the hardest one of the bunch, and then the rest of them are not so bad. So illa, again, this side of the chart is that words. That girl lives in this villa. These boys live in that, meaning that villa here. So, so what all you have to understand is that these are going to work with nouns, and they have a gender, masculine, feminine, or neuter. Both of them do, both this side and that side. And they can all be in cases as well, depending on what the case that of the noun that they're modifying is in. So here, the puer is the subject. The boy, this boy, lives in this street or on this street. So here, hic, like puer, is nominative and masculine, and it's singular. So it has, once again, gender, case, and number, just like the nouns that these words modify. Um, let's look at this one here. Hoc, in hoc via. Now, via is road. It's a feminine first declension word, and it happens to be ablative here, as we see by that long A. And it's ablative because of the preposition in, or, well, in meaning on here. So basically, the form of hic, haec, hoc goes with the case, gender, and number of the noun that it's modifying. So if you think about that, via is feminine, it's singular, and it's ablative. So it's the crossroads is basically right here. feminine, singular, and ablative. And that's why hoc via here, in hoc via. Again, ille, nominative, singular, because of puer, which is understood, and also masculine. So that's why this here, ille puer, and lives in that one. So again, illa, with the understood noun that it's modifying, is via. We go to feminine, ablative, and singular, which is right here, illa via, in illa via, understood. I hope that helps a little bit. All you have to do is translate here, so you don't have to really, think about the cases so much, but I did want you to understand how it works. It's very similar to the way that adjectives work with nouns. Now, it just so happens there's a lot of these forms for these pronouns here. But if you look at the endings, especially in the plural, you'll see that they're very similar to the endings of nouns of the different declensions. The singulars not so much, but the plurals, e, orum, is, os, is for masculines of second declension, I, arum, is, as, is for feminine of first declension. And, the neuter is a little different here. This hike form doesn't really show up in anything else, but orum is something is definitely like second declension neuter still. It's just that hike and again hike here are a little different, and that those plural forms go for these two: e orum isos is, I orum isas is, and this is just like neuter second declension words: a orum is, a is. The singular forms take a little getting used to, but I'm not even sure that you really have to memorize these so much as just recognize them. And for 26C, you do have to think this through a little bit. Now it says choose the proper form of hic or ille to modify the noun in italics, and then read the sentence aloud and translate. So that is again confusing. Like, are you supposed to use hic or are you supposed to use ille? And I say use both, just to get more familiar with it. So for each one, you might put in the right form of hic and of ille, depending on the noun that those demonstrative, like adjectives or pronouns, are modifying here. So the Cornelii live in this or that villa. So again, consider the fact that this is ablative, it's feminine, and it's singular. And then you'll find the forms here, hoc and illa, just as we had in this sentence right here, hoc and illa. One more, spectate blank arcum pueri clamavit Euclides. So Euclides shouted, watch this or that, or look at this or that arch, boys. I myself was saying this to some of my students, I'm sure, just a week ago. Look at this or that arch, boys. So you have to consider case, gender, and number. Now, this is definitely accusative, and it's definitely singular, and it's a fourth declension word for arch, which is arcus, and the genitive is arcus. So most fourth declension words are masculine. So we have a masculine accusative singular here. So all we do is masculine, accusative, singular, not plural down here, but singular. So the right form of hic haec hoc is going to be hunc for arcum, and the right form of ille illa illud is going to be illum because it's masculine, it's accusative, and it's singular. So hunc and illum. If you use that as your guide for how to look at how to work with all of these nouns here, and you consider the cases of each of these. I mean, you might have to look up some of them because maybe you don't remember if, say, the word prido here, which means robber, is masculine or feminine, or ibus is that ablative, is that dative. So you have to consider how it's being used in the sentence and then apply the right form of these two different demonstratives to these nouns here. I hope this helps a little bit. I have been away from this game for a little while, so maybe I'm not being as perfectly clear as I try to be usually. But if it's not clear, just please send me a PT message or an email, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. I am catching up with a lot of virtual high school today and tonight. I don't pretend that it's all going to be corrected today and tonight, but over the next few days, or certainly I hope by the weekend, it will be done, giving us time to get ready to review for the final exam, which will start next Wednesday, and I think is due no later than May 10th to submit. So I'm wishing you all the best of luck, and please do feel free to get in touch with me, okay? Take care, and I'll be in touch soon.